my god, this is so sick. Look at me go kicking his f***ing... This is actually one of the worst games I've ever played. Yes, die, 10 out of 10, best fighting game I've ever played. This is honestly complete garbage. They actually call this a fighting game. Oh, damn! Didn't see that coming. Check out all some sick moves. What? Actual trash. If you put your trash in the rubbish, then put your rubbish in the garbage, then put your garbage in the bin, recycled it and threw it out, that would be what this game is. But the combat is so Jump Force is a game where lots of your favourite anime characters come together to have a huge brawl. And then somewhere along the line, they hired a writer and actually put a story together for the game and almost ruined everything. Welcome to a really bad review of Jump Force. The story is so bad. Jesus, who wrote this? No, seriously, Jesus, who wrote this? I'm blaming you. NANI? Guess we have to talk about the story then. So, there's gonna be spoilers. So, you're this guy, or girl, and Trunks comes along with his newly formed brow line. Seriously, why have they done this? It's oddly creepy. And apparently saves you from dying by putting a magic cube in your body, which in every other instance makes people evil and violent, but not you, because you're the main character and that makes you special. Just like my mum says I am. Then you play through countless fights that you partake in because it's a fighting game, although the writers would have you believe otherwise by making up very sudden and vague scenarios to put you in a position to aimlessly fight other people over and over again. Watch as you painfully sit through a tragic storyline that's so predictable it could have been written by a 6-year-old and obviously wasn't good enough for any anime or manga, so they stuck it in a game with lots of famous faces to make money. Something something Umbra's Cube, something something Frieza, something something Kane, something something Battle, something something... Light Yagami's antics are actually the most interesting part of this game. Seriously, you little shit, what the f*** have you got planned? And don't think I've forgotten about you, guy from Hunter x Hunter, whose name continuously eludes me, even though I have the subtitles on because the game's in Japanese. Speaking of subtitles, why do some of the characters not have voices? I understand the main character, but it seems totally random as to which NPCs have vocal cords and which don't. There are large portions of the game where I believe that they hadn't hired a voice actor to play a certain character, only for them to randomly start talking during a cutscene, and then you have Ryuk. Or Ryuk? Oh, it's been a long time since I've watched Death Note, sorry. For some reason, who never got a voice, despite the writers giving him a fair share of a dialogue. I could make my peace with it, but they include him talking amongst other voiced characters like Light Yagami, and then when it's Ryuk's turn to talk, it's just text and no sound. Either don't voice either of them and have it fully text-based, or just voice them both. Don't do this. Wait, I thought I was meant to be talking about the story. Oh well, anyway, it doesn't matter too much, I can summarise this pretty quick. So there's this book, and I think it controls this cube or cubes that take over people and make them bad. And the bad guys are trying to use this to take over the world, and the good guys are trying to make them not take over the world. That's it. You can now skip every cutscene and piece of dialogue in the game and save yourself a couple hours because it's honestly shocking. Oh, and you get to pick which team you want to join, although I'm fairly certain it has little to no outcome on the story whatsoever. But I picked Naruto's team. The gameplay! Oh, damn! Didn't see that coming. Check out all... Wait. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. So you've got this hub world that you can freely stroll around in. There's different kiosks you can visit where you can take on missions, register for online battles and offline battles, upgrade and buy new moves and gear, and... No, I think that's it. So you can walk or run, and I use those terms lightly here and I'll explain why in a second. So you can move between camps and talk to various characters to progress the storyline by triggering different battles and cutscenes, but it honestly adds nothing to the game and would be almost the same without it. If you play Dragon Ball Xenoverse, it's like that, but worse. The story is somehow worse. Okay, so the controls. This brings me back to my point about the walking or running between camps. What on God's green earth is this? What is this abomination? It looks like they took my P-Tech anime character and decided to Frankenstein Bambi's legs onto the bottom half. This glitchy, elasticy movement is what the developers decided running was going to look like. How? Why would they do this? Okay, that's better. So the controls in the open section of the game are a lot like a stiff, rigid, heavy bubblegum. You kind of bounce and awkwardly spring around whilst gravity seemingly changes as it wants to create a weird, smooth yet also jerky experience that somehow passed the game's physics check. Thankfully, you can float around on an inanimate frog, because every game needs that, right? Okay, are we done with the garbage? We're done with it. Okay, cool. So the combat. Yeah, boy! It bodes well that the best part about a fighting game is the fighting. Look, I can't imagine this being a game that gains a huge competitive side. Of course there'll be some, but I can't see it reaching levels of, say, Super Smash or something like that, for example. But I think that's what makes this game so enjoyable for the casual player. If you like anime and or like fighting games, there isn't much about the combat you won't enjoy here. It's simple enough to get the hang of in 10 to 15 minutes, but you can steadily perfect certain aspects such as counters over the course of the disgustingly bad story. Just enough to head online or play against other friends who've also completed the disgustingly bad story. You get the chance to purchase new moves, which have a ginormous catalogue to choose from, by the way, or you can choose from the modest selection of characters to try out certain specials before you consider buying them with the in-game currency. If I was a competitive gamer, I could probably sit here, pull the combat system apart and tell you why it's bad, but coming from a noob, this is just the right amount of everything you want to make it enjoyable. It's the right balance of button mashing and strategically picking out the right move to execute. The developers didn't overcomplicate things by adding in too many variables, which can often make something unnecessarily complex, especially when first starting out. Now, I'm going to have to disregard the controls in the open world section here just so I can speak about them in a combat sense. They work well, but they aren't without their flaws. The response time can sometimes be a little off, and the animations can occasionally drag on or overlap, causing issues when trying to chain together combos. Actually, now I think about it, my biggest gripe here is that for the life of me I couldn't figure out why some moves cancelled out other moves. More often than not, you'd be in a position where you and your opponent would launch specials at similar times, but usually the one launched second would win, but in some scenarios which never really made sense and definitely lacked consistency, it would be the other way round. Sometimes a rush move launched second would beat a long range move, and sometimes a long range move launched second would stop a rush move, but then a grab could stop a rush if time. Some moves are unblockable, which isn't overly obvious unless it's a blatant grab. There's a lot of little things here you can nitpick at, and these flaws are mostly just a smear on the windscreen of pretty much a great combat system. Another spoiler. Except for this utter bullshit. How? Why? Leave me alone. Oh my. What is that? What is that? Get out of here. Yes, I'm finally gonna... no, I didn't. Really and truly, you can tell the developers are focused on the combat extensively in this fighting game. Mainly because it's a fighting game. Duh. So yeah, the gameplay is 10 out of 10, best fighting game I've ever played. Now, the graphics! I have a love-hate relationship with the graphics in this game. I'm fortunate enough to have a semi-decent PC rig, so for reference sake, I was playing the game on max settings at 1440p on a 144Hz monitor. Now, if you didn't look in depth or pay too much attention to the details, you'd probably pass the game as being quite pretty, but I'm still not convinced. When everything is in motion during combat, it's hard to fault anything really. The in-game motion blur creates a fast-paced anime fighting aesthetic quite convincingly, and while it's all in full force, it really does look good, and if I was to single anything out, it'd be the particle effects for this instance. The developers have done a really good job of making them look fantastic, and along with the lighting, these huge dramatic specials are really appealing to the eye. But then there's just some bits that bugged me, like how certain textures were completely flat pressed onto the character's clothes or skin, or how the destruction of the environment is always the same and it just kind of fades back into normal after a matter of seconds. Then you've got the character models themselves. Again, another subject that I'm torn on. Occasionally I look at them and think, what a great job they've done to bring anime characters into what is designed to be a real world setting. And then on the flip side, I can physically see myself cringing. I've mentioned the brow lines already, right? They're seriously, I don't know why they did this. The character models during the open play aspect are, I don't know, out of place? It just seems like everything in this game was designed to work and run well during the actual combat, whilst the rest was designed and slapped together as a mere afterthought, and the graphics are really no exception to this. The combat graphics? Good. The open play graphics?
Oh boy, do they suck.
So anyway, let's just head straight for the summary, shall we? The story! 2 out of 10. Honestly, they could have made this an arcade fighter with little to no story at all, and it wouldn't have suffered. The gameplay! Strictly just the combat. 7 out of 10. The graphics! 6 out of 10. The anime effect! 7 out of 10. And the overall is 5.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching this review on Jump Force. This is my 3rd review now. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and share the videos to show some support. I've also got a lot of other videos on my channel, so you can feel free to check them out. Thanks.